All right, Nick, let's talk about the Oklahoma Sooners. This is a team gone through a lot of turnover this offseason, a lot of new pieces on this team. But coming from the one of the team's captains, one of the leaders of this team, one important guy in particular is really starting to win over the locker room. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, there's one important player who's really started to show that he's gained the trust, won over this locker room, and that's probably the most important person to do as such. It is young quarterback Jackson Arnold. Let's get on into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, is from over on SI.com. It says, coming off an up and down start against Arizona in the Alamo Bowl, the first of Arnold's collegiate career, OU linebacker Danny Stutzman says he's been proud of how his quarterback has responded. Says, I think last year, obviously, that bowl game was really rough for everyone, Stutzman said on Monday during a weekly interview on the Franchise Morning Show 1077 The Franchise. Said, but Jackson really took it tough. It's tough on a young quarterback to go through the adversity, but he's handled it phenomenally. He was right away in the film room studying what he did wrong, where to improve upon his mistakes, and that's what you want to see from a young quarterback. I think he used the summertime and spring to really gain confidence, Stutzman said. Really understand, really get the timing down with the receivers, and every single day he's just trying to be a leader, get better 1% every single day, and that's what he's done. I think he's kind of won over the locker room, Stutzman says. Just everyone can really trust him and say, we've got our guy. And I think without a doubt, in my mind, he's going to lead us to everything that we want to do. Again, Nick, I alluded this. Danny Stutzman, all pro, all world linebacker for the Oklahoma Sooners. One of the most respected and well recognized linebackers in college football today. So for the praise from a defensive player, a captain on this Oklahoma team to say that Arnold has won over the locker room, I think this is really great news for the Sooners. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Sooners fans, in the comment section below, the season is so close. We can almost taste it. Football is almost back. But before we get there, one last chance. Let us know in the comment section below, what do you think record prediction for the Sooners will be this year? This is your chance to get your prediction down in the comment before the season starts. So what do you think the Sooners record is going to be this season in the comment section below? But Nick, what are your thoughts on Jackson Arnold winning the locker room?
I think it's incredibly important. And look, I think it was one of these sort of things that we were waiting on to hear from the leadership of the Oklahoma Sooners. We know Arnold is very talented. We saw it certainly flashes last season. And honestly, we saw it flashes in the bowl game against Arizona until, of course, things completely fell apart with all those turnovers down the stretch. This is a guy we know has the physical tools. He obviously was one of the top prospects in all of college football. The question would be, how does he handle becoming essentially a franchise quarterback? Big time college football is essentially a professional game nowadays. If you're the starting quarterback, you're like a franchise quarterback like you'd see in the National Football League. How do you handle that? Do you let it go to your head? Do you kind of abscond your leadership responsibilities? According to Danny Stutzman, Arnold did not, right? This is a guy who, after the poor performance when it comes to turnovers in the bowl game, went right into the film room, really trying to fix the problems, trying to get better towards the future. And I think Arnold has a great opportunity this year for Oklahoma, because right now the Sooners are being a little bit disrespected right now in the SEC. Understandably so, it's the SEC. There's so much talent, right? Everybody kind of gets disrespected, not named Alabama or Georgia, just because the conference is absolutely stacked. But Oklahoma is really sound defensively, like a very, very veteran group, even young guys interior on the defensive line coming into their own here. But the real question is going to be, how does Arnold handle the ups and downs of going through a brutal SEC schedule? And I think what we're hearing from Danny Stutzman right now is that he has the mental makeup to handle that. And I think that's the most important thing. When you look at these SEC gauntlets, right, you're not going to have a perfect game. You're going to have a game where you throw 3 picks. It's just going to happen. You're going to have a game where you score 3 points and get blown out. You're going to go down to Alabama or go to LSU or go to Athens, Georgia, or whatever. You're just going to have an ugly game. It happens every year in the SEC, even to the best teams and even to the best teams in the SEC. How do you respond to that is what really matters. And I think Danny Stutzman is highlighting here how Jackson Arnold responded to some adversity in the bowl game. And it's the perfect response. It's going back in the film room, back in the weight room to get better while continuing to be a leader for this Oklahoma Sooner squad. I think Jackson Arnold has proved he has the mental makeup to handle being the quarterback for this team. And I think that was the last step we were waiting to see from the young quarterback. And I think it's a great sign for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Nick, and I would agree with you there because I think this was the piece that they were missing, as you alluded to. Danny Stutzman, obviously the vocal leader of probably the team as a whole, but especially the defensive side of the ball. We're really waiting to see. I think everyone assumed Jackson Arnold would step up and take that mantle as the offensive leader. But like you're saying, we're just waiting. We need to hear, like what we say on this channel, there need to be some corroborating evidence. We need to have someone come out and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is what is going on the team. And Arnold has actually stuck up and took a hold of that mantle. I think we're seeing it here. I think this is the best news we could get as, the Sooners faithful sees this team come into the SEC. I think it's going to be a tough transition. Like you said, everybody gets disrespected in the SEC. It's a tough division to be in. So, I mean, you need to have a guy that really steps up and has that confidence. He has the physical tools. He has the talent. We all know he's a talented player. But does he have the confidence to be a strong leader? Does he have the confidence to lead this team into the SEC? And from what Stutzman says, I think he does. And I would believe pretty much anything that Danny Stutzman says.